Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. Now, in today's video, I just want to give you guys a quick background on why I think the NBA should change its schedule, how I think this will improve the ratings, and it will actually be a good thing for the NBA. Now, first, I want to start off give you guys some background. The NBA season used to start doing around the time of Halloween. Right when Halloween started, the NBA started. Late October. But because they didn't want so many back-to-back games, they pushed it up to early October. That's why now, early October, and to me, more fans just do not care. Everybody knows that they care about the NBA season when Christmas comes around. On Christmas Day, everybody's watching the NBA. Everybody knows that, hey, for them, that's when their season starts. So why not start the NBA season during Christmas? I'm also going to give you some background, some news that I just found out. Watching Get Up on ESPN, Mark Cuban was on there with Mike Greenberg and said that the reason why TV partners do not want the NBA to start during Christmas and go into the summers because obviously you guys know during the summer a lot of people are not glued to their TVs and a lot of people are out, certain kids are, they're at camp, summer camp, and just different things like that. So I understood that. But now is the perfect time to move the NBA to December 25th. And move it to Christmas because that's when the NBA is going to get a good rating. You put the best games on. You start the season by putting the best games on, putting all the superstars against each other, and that's how you start the NBA season. It will bring in a lot of excitement. Game one, you know it's serious. Now, people are going to say, well, you put it to December 25th and have the same amount of games. What's that going to do? My next step is from going from 82 games, you go down to 68 games. So from 82 to 68 games, that's a 14 games off of the schedule. If you do that, it makes the NBA season more important. And the reason I say it's more important because now 14 games are eliminated. So now you don't have those 14 games to, an NBA superstar can sit during this games because, you have more games later. No, now that there are less games in the season, now it's more important for those superstars to actually play in every single game. If you reduce it from 82 to 68, it'll give you a better chance that every single NBA superstar can play every single game. Because at 68 games, that it will not be as demanding, and all the games will be spread out. And plus, you're not starting in October; you will start during Christmas, which gives the NBA a better way to boost its ratings. Because as you guys know, early October, the NFL season is still kicking in full gear, and we all know that right now the NFL is America's pastime. The NFL is kicking in full gear, and that's America's pastime right now. Not baseball anymore, obviously. So just letting the NFL have its season. I know people are going to say, what about baseball? And they have to cut their games down too, but that's a video for another day. But if you look at it, the NBA and the NFL needs to give each other the space and the breathing room because those two sports are number one and they're number two right now in America. So that is the best way for the NBA to be able to capitalize on ratings. And what I mean by that is if you take away 14 games out of the season and you have 68 games, all stars are going to play, and then, which is my next step now, you move the first and the second round of the NBA playoffs to 5 games, because now it's more serious, and you have to think about it. You can't always think about the hardcore fan. The same thing when it goes to wrestling, which I'll elaborate on in another video about that. But as far as the NBA goes, you have to think about the casual fans who don't watch basketball every single night, or don't watch their team every single night. They only watch the major games. Yes, there are people like that. So my thing is, especially during the playoffs, make it 5 games. Nobody wants to sit there and watch the first seed. Let's just say right now it's the Milwaukee Bucks. In the NBA right now is the first seed. And then the 8th seed is the Orlando Magic. So the first seed is the Milwaukee Bucks. The 8th seed is the Orlando Magic. Nobody wants to see that series go 7 games in the first round, because then it's just too much. Now people are going to say, what about the We Believe team that the Dallas Mavericks won the championship, and then after they won the championship, the next year the We Believe team with Steve Jackson, Matt Barnes, Al Harrington, and Baron Davis, and those guys, they beat that team, the Dallas Mavericks, in the first round, and there was a huge upset. Those types of things are special. Now, could that happen in a 5-game series again? If a special team does pop back up like that, then yes, it could happen again. But for right now, nobody wants to see the 1st and 8th seed go 7-game series. Now, it may be a sweep, it may be a gentleman's sweep, but even 6 games, I still don't want to see that. Now, I do watch the NBA a lot before it was canceled, obviously, but I do watch the NBA a lot, but I watch the NFL even more. And the most important thing about the NFL is that every single game for certain teams that are not tanking, you have to take that seriously. When the NBA, if you're in the playoffs, hey, Obviously you take the playoffs seriously, but in game 1 or game 2, okay, you lose, but then you always have a chance to come back for game 3, game 4, especially, if you're away, then you come home, you got the home court advantage. So people have to think about it. If you have 5 games, now it makes the first and second round more serious. It makes those players take these games more serious. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, that a player gets hurt in the playoffs. It gives them more, and I don't want this to happen, but it gives them more of an attitude to say, hey, well, I'll take off this game and come back the next game. Well, now it's only 5 games, so it's so important for you to come back that sometimes you're going to have to play through injury. Certain NBA players don't like doing that, but it toughens them up, and it gives more respect around the league, and it gives more respect from fans. Now, is that the smart idea? No. But because the series will be 5 games, it will mean so much more. So the first and the second round should be 5 games. It should not be 7 games. The only rounds that should be 7 games is the Eastern Conference Finals, the Western Conference Finals, and the NBA Finals should be 7 games because those are championship games. I'm going to use an example. I'm not taking a shot at him or anything like that because he's a great player. But Carmelo Anthony, he's only been to the conference championship 1 time in his career. It's the same thing. If you look at that, a lot of players don't ever get back there again. The same thing, Chris Paul has never been to an NBA Finals. Certain players have never been to an NBA Finals, so where they can say they actually been there. They've only been to a conference finals. So the NBA needs to start treating that with more importance. If you go to the Eastern Conference and you win, okay, hey, we're going to the NBA Finals. We may not ever have that shot again. The same thing, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, when Kevin Durant got hurt for that series against Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, even though they got swept, they were still in the Western Conference Finals. They may not ever get back there again. We don't know. So I think the NBA should cherish those moments, especially players should be able to cherish that because some of them may not ever be able to get back there again. So the NBA, the only rounds that should be 7 games is the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference, and the NBA Finals should only be 7 games. There is no reason why the first 2 rounds in NBA should be 7 games. It's way too long, and to me, the ratings suffer by having the first 2 rounds. If you know it's 5 games, you know in basically 5 games, who's going to win this series and who's not. But even it's still the suspense of, hey, well, the 8th seed can upset this seed that are playing. Once in a lifetime, once in every decade, the 8th seed could be the first seed in 5 games. You're up 3, basically, or you win 3 straight games, it's over. So for me, that's what the NBA should do when it comes to the first and the second round. Now, obviously, those are my first step and second step, which the first step was this from 82 to 68 games. The second step was the playoffs. The first 2 rounds should be 5 games. Now, the third step is the fact that stop putting these bad games on primetime television. And what I mean by that is, I know in the NBA that the superstar player, the great player, goes to the most terrible team in the league. That happens in the NFL as well. But the thing is with the NBA is that, listen, no offense to these teams that I'm about to name, but I do not, as a casual and hardcore viewer, I'm looking through the eyes of a casual and some as a hardcore viewer as well. I don't want to see the Phoenix Suns on a Wednesday night primetime versus the Atlanta Hawks. Now, I know the Atlanta Hawks have Trae Young. I know the Suns have Devin Booker. I'm just saying, or it's another team, the New York Knicks versus, like this year, the Golden State Warriors are the worst team in the NBA. Obviously, the injuries and different things like that. But I don't want to see the New York Knicks versus Golden State where players hurt. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, those guys are hurt. I don't want to see that on a Wednesday night primetime at 8 p.m. I want to see the best of the best on primetime. If not, then don't have it on primetime. I know you can't always be like that, but because you cut down the season from 82 to 68 games, now the NBA can plan accordingly. Okay, which days are the fans going to tune in? Who they're going to tune in to see? They're going to tune in to see the superstars. If not, if you want to see the other guys play, those teams are going to have to step up. There should be a punishment for teams that tank. If you tank in the NBA, okay, we'll allow you to tank, but guess what? You're not going to be on primetime television. And for me, the NFL does that. I think they have that same model. Now Tampa Bay has Tom Brady, but for all these years, Tampa Bay wasn't in primetime. The Cleveland Browns, besides Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, they weren't in primetime. They got primetime because they started improving the team, the weapons that they had, different things like that. I know Memphis is improving with John Morant. I know people want to see Zion Williamson in primetime, but NBA teams should not be rewarded and not be allowed to be in primetime if you're going to tank to get a certain player. It should be just like the NFL model. If you tank and you suck for years, you're not going to be on prime time. Now, I know it's more difficult with the NBA, but that should be a rule. If you tank, you are not allowed to be in prime time. Only prime time games. I know ESPN and TNT both share the package of the NBA, and I know, Tuesday and Thursday nights are for TNT, and Wednesday and Friday is obviously for ESPN. But hey, during those days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays, those days need to have the best teams on those days every single week, starting in December or starting on Christmas Day. Start on Christmas Day with your best superstars, then you can move forward. That's how the model should be. Make it more strict for tanking. If you tank, your primetime games, you will get 1 or 2 primetime games, and that's it. You want to see these great superstars for college, and you want to see how they transition. And I know it's not their fault, but you have to make it stricter for teams tanking. You can tank all you want to, but guess what? Prime time, you won't see the light and day of prime time until you start improving. The same thing. Now, if the Atlanta Hawks, for instance, Atlanta Hawks, then you get another superstar to go there, and they're starting to improve, and then they start to go up and they start to win more every single year. Allow them to have more prime time games. But it's the same thing. I don't want to see certain teams on prime time when they're not doing well or they're tanking on purpose. What's the point of seeing you in prime time if you're tanking? I don't want to see the New York Knicks in prime time if you're going to tank. Now, they are the New York Knicks and Madison Square Garden, the allure of that. But what's the point of watching you if you're going to tank on purpose and you're wasting the rating? Because then, let's just say the week after that, the New York Knicks are on prime time again, or the Phoenix Suns, or any other team that is on prime time that is tanking and is not improving. Why would I want to watch that as a consumer, a hardcore consumer? Obviously, you like basketball, but even for the casual consumer, why would I want to watch that when I know these teams are tanking to rebuild their organization again and to get a number 1 pick? It's ridiculous, and it needs to stop. The NBA needs to crack down on it. You can do that, but primetime, you will not see the light of day of primetime television. That will help the NBA ratings increase as well. And by the way, everything that I'm saying in this video is the NFL model. People are going to say, well, it's a different sport, it's a different thing. You shouldn't be thinking like that. Well, I am, because that model is helping the NFL, and I think it will help the NBA as well. Now, the next step is, everything I'm saying right now, like I said, is to treat it like the NFL model. The division. If you win a division in the NBA, now I know it's so hard to win a division, especially the Lakers, the Clippers, Golden State, Sacramento, and the Phoenix are all in the same division. So, I don't think NBA fans are ever going to care about which division, the Pacific, nobody's ever going to care. I think they should make it be more important, but because there are so many good teams in one division, I don't think everybody's going to care. So I don't think you can use the NFL model for that. I mean, you can, because there's so many tough teams. You can actually flip it and say, well, if the Lakers are number 1 seed and they win their division, they should be celebrated more. I think it should be celebrated more, but I just don't think the fans will care about it enough. But I do think it should be celebrated more. So that's kind of a one-off thing that I think the NBA can improve as well. Now, another thing that the NBA should improve on is its draft. I forgot a couple years ago, I remember watching NBA Finals, and obviously at that time I wasn't a hardcore basketball fan to know when the draft was. And I was just sitting there, I'm like, the draft is literally in 2 or 3 weeks from now. Like I saw no commercials or nothing for the draft. So in my opinion, they need to hype the draft more. I know it's not a lot of superstars, even from picks. People just wait. Let's see who gets picked from 1 to 10, and that's it. The NBA needs to make the draft feel more special. They need to do it after people calm down from the NBA Finals. Then you do the draft. I think that maybe they should do the draft first. Do free agency first and then the draft maybe. Just set up what teams, or maybe just keep it the way it is. I want to know how you guys feel about that in the comment section down below, because I don't know how I feel about that yet, about which one should go first. But I do think that the NBA needs to improve the draft model for the NBA as well. Improve the combine. Want to see players do the drills and different things like that. Improve that as well. Certain things you can't get from the NFL because it's just lowered down, and I don't think a lot of people are really interested, especially casual, are interested in the NBA, running and just doing different things like that when it comes to the combine. But just make an effort. That's all I'm saying. The NBA needs to make an effort by having the draft feel more important and the combine feel more important as well. So those are the steps right there I think that the NBA should look at and kind of take from the NFL model and look at that. Look at finding ways to cut down the regular season, start it in December, and have it end in August. Start in December, end in August. That's 9 months, or you're cutting down the season. Guess what? You start in basically December, it goes all the way up into July. Free agency doesn't start another month later, and before free agency start, maybe the draft is 2 weeks after the NBA or 3 weeks after the NBA Finals, and you're hyping it up. Every playoff game, the draft needs to be hyped. The combine needs to be hyped. Everything needs to be hyped up. Every single playoff game. Hey guys, make sure you check out the draft, the NBA draft, whoever's come out of college. The draft. They need to shove it down your throats that the draft is coming on. The scouting combine, everything needs to be pushed down the consumer's throats for everybody to understand that, hey, this is important. These players are important. These are the in-depth look at certain players. I think that's what the NBA needs to focus on as well. And just that model, like I said, for the NFL. Also, another step that I was thinking about was cooler weather cities, which means that cities like New York that are cool around that time of February still, and Indiana. I know Chicago just had the All-Star, but even if you think about Indianapolis having an All-Star break next year, and then the season after that is Cleveland, and then the season after that it's Utah. So why not, if you change the season and put it to December, why not, if you have it, obviously the All-Star break will not be in February, you move it to April. So now that you move it to April, it's much more warmer in those cool weather cities, so that more cool weather cities can actually bid for it. Like let's say Toronto, or just something like that, or New York, or just different things like that. Even though they're cool weather cities, now that it's springtime in April, or even move the All-Star to even May. Now if you look at it, it's moved to May, even closer towards the end of the season, All-Star break, and then after you have the All-Star break, have a couple more games, and then you go on to the playoffs. For me, I think that having it in April or May will benefit cooler weather cities, that they can bid and have a place and really have the All-Star come to their cities or come to their state or whatever the case may be. So I think that will help improve relationships with different teams as well. So just same thing. The NBA All-Star break, now that people don't want to be, people don't want to be at colder weather cities. Now, it's springtime, so it's not going to be as cold. So now that it's not as cold, you can have the All-Star. Basically, I know a lot of Western teams get the All-Star, or whatever team bids for the All-Star break. But now teams like, Milwaukee can have the All-Star. Toronto, Boston can have All-Star. I know Miami's obviously a warm weather city. You have Miami, you have Indiana. Philadelphia can get an All-Star. Brooklyn, Orlando's, I know it's warm weather. Washington can All-Star. Charlotte, Chicago, New York, Detroit, Atlanta, Cleveland. All those teams in the Eastern Conference that a lot of people don't like to play at because it's in the Eastern time zone. It's much more cooler over here than, let's say, in LA or Denver, or just even it's cooler in Denver where it snows a lot in Denver. Denver could bid for All-Star. All these teams could bid for the All-Star, and a lot of NBA fans will have a problem with it because it's warm outside. It's spring. We're almost going into summer. April, May, going into the summer, so it's warm. It's not in the middle of February when it's still wintertime and it's cold. I think that will benefit the NBA in the long run as well. So let me know in the comment section down below, how do you guys feel about the NBA schedule? How do you feel about my thoughts and opinions on how they can improve the NBA season, and what different things that they can do? What measures, what else do you guys feel like the NBA should be able to do? Let me know if you agree or disagree with my position on it. I feel like I laid out a couple of good things for the NBA and how they can really change and really just give a refreshed feeling toward the season, especially not even by the end of this season, if it gets picked back up, but even going into the 2020 to 2021 season after this year, obviously, starting December, Christmas, and have it all up until July or August maybe, depending on, you can spread out games. No team in the NBA will ever have it back-to-back again. And you could just spread it out. All the superstars can play in all 68 games. The first 2 rounds are 5 games to make the playoffs just more serious. So let me know in the comment section down below, how do you guys feel about the NBA? Where do you think they should improve on that I did not say in this video? Let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn on post notifications. I'm back. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos during these tough times for you guys to enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until next time, guys, make sure you guys like, subscribe, share the videos with your friends and family. And until next time, guys, thank you for watching. Peace.